Nowadays, it's not uncommon to hear many black people say that they believe that white people are more trustworthy than black people are. Many black people also said that they're more afraid of our own people than they are of white people. Many now also defend and revere Caucasians and insist that it's ourselves that are our worst enemies. Many believe these things in spite of the brutally horrific historical atrocities committed against us by the white society. These noted thoughts and mindset that are commonly held by far too many black people and that clearly benefits the white society is not some strange phenomenon. Currently, many black people are not functioning based upon our true reality, nor of an accurate interpretation of the history shared between our racial group and the white society. Many are instead functioning based upon subliminal programmings that have been successfully embedded into our collective minds through the white society's monopoly over information and media images that we constantly receive. Subliminal programming are messages that are sent to the subconscious mind without the targeted populations realizing it. Subliminal means not recognized or understood by the conscious mind, but still having an influence on the conscious mind nonetheless through the subconscious mind. There are 4 ways to brainwash millions of people to think as you want them to think. Through subliminal messages embedded within what they are taught, within what they hear, through what they see, and through repetition. Because the white society controls the education we're taught, the media images that we see, and the societal narrative that we repetitively hear, they have exploited this scenario by repetitively feeding subliminal messages into the collective subconscious minds of black people that makes us think and behave in ways that serves and protects the interests of the white society. During our educational development, we're denied of most racially affirming facts about our racial group. This subliminally conditions us to perceive ourselves through a false inherent subordinate identity that makes us more accepting of our subordinate status within the white dominant society. We're also miseducated to believe that most of our enslaved ancestors were sold away by Africans. This subliminally conditions us to blame the enslavement of our ancestors more greatly upon our fellow Africans than we do the white society. We're also miseducated to believe that our ancestors were uncivilized and illiterate before the white society invaded and enslaved our ancestors. This conveys a subliminal message that the white society's enslavement of our ancestors benefited us. This literally causes many of us to feel indebted to the white societies for having brutally invaded and brutally enslaved our ancestors. They also tell us that all study results favors whites over blacks. This is how they subliminally embeds the myth of white racial superiority into our collective subconscious minds. This makes many of us feel subservient towards whites and makes us more compliant with white dominance over our lives. They keep us believing in the fraudulent worst narratives about ourselves, because a demoralized black population is less likely to rise up against our oppressors. They constantly inundate us with propaganda about black on black crime. This conveys the subliminal message that we are our worst enemies. This divides us and shifts our collective aggressions away from the white society and redirects it towards ourselves. It also causes us to fear each other and makes us believe that we therefore need white people to govern over our lives in order to protect us from each other. Moreover, we're being subliminally programmed to admire, respect, and trust only whites. These subliminal programmings are extremely effective because when black people are repetitively inundated with them, it can be very difficult to resist their implied programmabilities, especially when they're being reinforced and reapplied daily and so unrelentingly. With time, many black people eventually comes to accept these subliminal programming and then begins functioning based upon them as if they're true. It's truly mental slavery. Those black people who don't critically think never notice their mental change. This is all possible because people are like computers. All you have to do is keep feeding them certain subliminal messages, and you can persuade an entire generation towards implied objectives. White social scientists describe what they've done to us, this subliminal programming of our collective minds, as merely instilling a value system into the collective minds of black people that makes us adhere to the authority and existing infrastructure of the white dominant society. It's how the white society protects itself from massive unified black retribution. They use religion to get us to give up our critical thinking skills and to replace it with blind faith. Because we've been socialized to put more effort into studying our Bibles, we have little understanding of the psychological warfare systems that are presently being deployed against us by white oppressive forces. Our study of religions have left many of us intellectually behind in our mental growth. Therefore, we are easy victims for those who have studied how to control the mind and how to manipulate the collective minds of large targeted populations. This is the truth of our plight and condition. And nothing's being done to address it because we no longer have true black leaders. We instead only have black puppets that actually works in behalf of the white establishment. They merely give us the illusion that we have leaders. Black people, we must wake up to our reality of what has been done to us by white oppressive forces. The time of believing in a biblical fairy tale and a Willie Lynch myth is over. It has now been, this year marks the anniversary, the 405th anniversary since the first slave was brought to America. It is time for us to understand the truth and start developing counter strategies to liberate ourselves. One love and peace.